The moment Rowan stepped into the small sunlit cafe, he felt something tighten in his chest, a strange mix of dread, hesitation, and the familiar weight of being judged before he even sat down. His co-workers had teased him all week about going on a blind date, insisting they'd found the perfect match for him, swearing they just wanted to help him move on after losing his wife 2 years earlier. But the uneasy shift in their eyes, the suppressed laughter, the smirks they tried to hide told him something else. He sensed a setup, a cruel one. And he was right. Because sitting at the back table near the window was a woman who clearly didn't fit the world's shallow standards. She was large, nervous, clutching her hands together as if bracing for another blow life might throw at her. And as Rowan saw her trembling under the bright daylight, he realized she already knew she was the punchline in someone's joke. If you're someone who believes in kindness, dignity, and giving people the second chance they deserve, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Good Soul. Your support helps spread stories that change hearts. Rowan paused for a moment, feeling the weight of everything he had carried since the day his wife passed away. Raising his little daughter Marin alone had taught him a lot, especially how cruel the world could be to people who didn't fit into its narrow definitions of beauty or worth. As he approached the table, the woman kept her eyes glued to the cup of tea in front of her, almost afraid to look up. Her name was Arlena, a name as soft and gentle as her presence. The sunlight streamed through the window, making her seem even more vulnerable. Rowan could almost feel her heartbeat racing across the table. He sat down slowly, not because he was hesitant but because he wanted her to feel seen, not startled. In that moment, he remembered Marin asking him earlier that morning why grown-ups often forgot how to be kind. He didn't know what to tell her, maybe that adults forgot softness because the world rewarded cruelty more loudly. But as he looked at Arlena, he made a quiet promise to himself: he would not add to her pain. If anything, he would shield her from it. Arlena's fingers shook slightly as she lifted her cup, clearly expecting Rowan to look at her with disgust or pity. Instead, he noticed the delicate gold bracelet around her wrist, a beautiful handmade piece that looked like she created it herself. He noticed the calm warmth in her eyes, the kind that belonged to someone who had suffered enough to understand how much small kindness matters. He noticed everything about her that others probably overlooked. And in that sunlight-filled cafe, he made the decision that would shape the rest of the day: he would treat her not as a joke, but as a human being deserving of dignity, tenderness, and truth. As minutes passed, Rowan felt the heaviness in her shoulders slowly lift. He spoke softly, sharing pieces of his life, not out of obligation but because something about her presence felt safe. Arlena began to open up too, not loudly, not dramatically, but gently, like someone afraid her voice might be taken away. She shared how she had spent her whole life being mocked for her weight, how even family gatherings felt like battlegrounds, how she endured comments that left scars no one could see. She spoke about working at a small craft stall, making jewelry by hand, dreaming of someday having her own store but feeling too invisible to believe it could happen. As she talked, Rowan realized this wasn't a woman broken by the world, this was a woman who had survived despite it. But then Rowan saw them, his co-workers, standing outside the cafe window, laughing, filming, nudging each other like schoolboys who thought humiliation was entertainment. They expected him to walk out, to reject Arlena, to prove their cruel assumptions right. Rowan felt something hot and fierce rise inside him. He turned sharply, letting them see the anger blazing in his eyes, making them freeze for the first time. And then he spoke words that would remain with Arlena for the rest of her life, words that steadied her trembling hands, words that made her eyes fill instantly with tears. He told her she deserved better. That she deserved respect. That she deserved to be admired not despite who she was, but because of who she was. And with every sincere word, Arlena's expression changed. It wasn't disbelief, it was something more heartbreaking. It was the look of someone who had never heard such kindness directed at her before. The co-workers quietly disappeared, and when Rowan turned back to Arlena, she was covering her mouth, holding back sobs that weren't from sadness but from the shock of being valued. The sunlight outside had shifted, turning warmer, softer, as if the day itself wanted to wrap around her. For the first time in years, she felt seen, not as a target, not as a joke, but as a person worth staying for. Rowan didn't leave. He stayed with her until her hands stopped shaking, until her smile returned, small and cautious but real. And in that moment, something beautiful began, something neither of them expected when the day began. If this story touched your heart or reminded you of the power of simple kindness, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Good Soul. Your support helps these stories reach more people who need them. Special request, comment, respect always wins. If you believe kindness changes everything. And as the afternoon sunlight washed over them, Rowan realized the joke was never on Arlena. It was on anyone who failed to see the beauty in a soul like hers.